with it, you can grab it. If it has any significant play, anything to that degree, some component is not doing its job the way it's supposed to, so you know that there's a problem on this side. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy J-Lo here. Today we are focused on this vehicle right here somehow. Boom. You all know it looks familiar. This is the original car that I bought for the flipping series, and I went through the process of listing it, selling it. I do have a buyer. The buyer came, liked the vehicle, they drove it, they said they liked it, but during the test drive we realized that there was a lot of noise coming from the suspension area. So I'm going to show you what to look for, and this is how you determine if a tie rod is bad on a vehicle or not. So let's get into this video. AJ wanted to tell y'all hi too. He just walked up to me and said put him in the video, so he's in the video. So to know if your tie rod is bad, of course, this is the inner, this is the outer. Most of the time you can get away with just replacing this, but to know if something's wrong with it, you can grab it. If it has any significant play, anything to that degree, some component is not doing its job the way it's supposed to, so you know that there's a problem on this side. So all that you're going to need for this, I have jack stands. Of course, we're going to have to lift the front end of the vehicle up. I have a socket set, and then we're also going to use a tie rod tool. I picked this up on Amazon for like $8. They do make a different style that you can go and rent from a parts store, just a jack, and then this is just to make light work of bolts I can't get off. And you will also need either a tire iron or a impact gun to also take the wheels off the vehicle.
So make them run it back.
Also a tip here, before you lift the vehicle, make sure you break each lug nut. It just makes the process easier once you do get it up in the air. It's also a good idea or a handy tip here to keep, when you take the tire off, to keep it under the vehicle just in case it does fall. It has something to fall onto. Going to disassembling, there is a pin. It's a cotter pin right here. You can just bend that out, bend both tabs out. Once you take the cotter pin out, you're then going to take a size 17 socket and bust this bolt out right here. From that point, you just need to get, usually like pickle forks work really well, just get something in between it and bust it off. Okay, so now that we fixed that, we're gonna try this again. So you're gonna count the revolutions that you take, that you spin this to. I got the tie rod out. Just before you take this out, this is probably a good idea to do it first. Make sure you loosen this back nut right here. All that does is control where this stops at, so make sure you loosen that stop nut. Once you loosen that and then get this off, make sure you get the nut off the very bottom. The castle nut usually is what they call it, but make sure you get the castle nut off, and then you loosen this outer nut right here, and you should be able to take it off. When you take it off, if you're just doing the outer, you just rotate it accordingly. Keep track of how many revolutions you do, essentially. So it's 1, it's 2, 16, 17 and a quarter. So I ended up having to cut the boot back there. You might have to do the same depending. Just make sure your kit comes with a new boot, but I did have to cut it. Once you cut it, it reveals the inner tie rod right here. You know your inner tie rod is bad when you can let it go and it just falls. There should be resistance against it. It shouldn't just be floppy. So since I purchased the whole kit, I got inner and outer. This right here, like I said, I picked this up from Amazon for like $8. You just tighten both nuts down on the actual thing in itself. So show you better right here. You're just going to tighten around both pinions on that side to pinch it like that, and then you'll be able to take a ratchet head. I think that's a 3/8 ratchet, and you'll be able to turn the whole assembly. I already got it loose, so I'm going to take it out now. Make sure that you have the right side, you know what I'm saying? So before you take this off, make sure that you took off the right side and that you're replacing it with the right side. A lot of companies don't label which side is which, so make sure you do that. And there's also going to be a little clip on the end. Your new hardware should come with this little washer clip right there, and that's just to help it secure inside. So this is what the new hardware on. This is what the new inner arm looks like. You're just going to make sure these 2 points on top of the washer line up with those grooves right there inside of the thread pitches. I'm also going to put a little Loctite on it just to make sure it stays on. Alright, so I just went ahead and put the inner one back in. I went ahead and reattached the boot on the inside as well. Now I'm going to pull this back out, hook up the outer tie rod. Remember on mine I did 17.25 revolutions, so whatever yours is, twist it back accordingly, and then once I get the whole assembly back together, that is all. I'll get back to that point. 16, 17. Do 17 back, and then make sure that you tighten these two, and you know what I'm saying, make sure you remove the castle nut on the new hardware, slap it in there, and slap the castle nut back on, and then I'll get back to y'all at that point. But pretty much you're finished. And just like that, everything is back together. That's all there is to it. If you were to do the opposite side, it's just the same thing, just everything's reverted. So that's all I got for you today. That didn't take that long, but I hope it was an informational video. I wish I could have recorded more of the process. I ended up getting a lot dirtier than I intended to. This could be tricky for some people. The best thing that I could say is, if you can't get this out, use something like a hammer, of course, but also use something to pry. Try to get to a position to where you can pry it up, and once you have that lifting up, then take your hammer and make sure you hit, find a hammer right here, take your hammer and make sure you hit this side right here. And then while you're prying, just tap it. It should forgive and let go, but everything is tighten back down, tight, secure all the way around. I did get the castle nut back in also along with the pin. So that's all there is to changing the tie rod on the inner and outer tie rod on the 2007 Honda Accord. It's your boy J-Lo out, this guy.
Hey, so make 'em run it back. Make 'em run it back.